kilogram of guava at that period of time, then there will be a kind of marginal revenue. That is, there will be an additional revenue. And to get the additional revenue, we multiply the price, which is 50 naira, by the new sales, which is 21 kilogram, which will give us, by multiplying 50 and 21, it will give us 1,050 naira. In the previous calculation, we got 1,000 naira for total revenue. And this new calculation, we are getting 1,050 naira for total revenue. The addition, the difference between the two is what we refer to as marginal revenue, and that is 50 naira because of the additional 1 kilogram of guava, which goes for 50 naira. Those are the proof and the calculation for the average revenue and marginal revenue. Now, what are the uses of revenue and cost? Both revenue and cost are important concepts in economics. While cost is the expenditure incurred to produce a goods and services during the production process, revenue is the money received by the producers selling that goods and services. That is, the cost is a part of the input, a part of the expenditure that are spent in order to make the production process going on smoothly. While the revenue is like the output, the results of the production process, the income that was realized from the production process. That is the revenue. So cost symbolizes sacrifice made by the producer, and the revenue symbolizes gain for the producer. That is the difference between the two. By getting the required revenue from sales of the commodity, the producer is able to recover the cost he has incurred earlier. That means, in a normal and ideal situation, the revenue is supposed to be more than the cost. That is, the gain is supposed to be more than the sacrifice. And that is when the producer will be running at profit. But in a case where the cost is more than the revenue, then we can say the producer is running at loss. In that case, it will not be profitable for such producer to keep producing. In that case, we say that the producer earns his due share, which is called profit. That is the situation where revenue is more than the cost. We can define the profit as the surplus of revenue over the cost of production. That is, when we are to define profit and total revenue are not the same. Total revenue is from total revenue that will get our profit after we must have deducted the total cost. That is, total revenue is the total income, total benefits, total gains realized from production process. But we need to remove the total cost, the total sacrifice that we made, so that we'll be able to realize our profit. The difference between total revenue and total cost is what we refer to as profits. Inflation. Inflation is a sustained increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. It is a general increase in the overall price level of the goods and services in the economy. In other words, the prices of many goods and services such as housing, food, transportation, and fuel, and so on like that, will increase. When the price level rises, each unit of currency buys fewer goods and services. Consequently, the purchasing power per unit of money reduces. That is, the power of money will reduce. That is, the amount of quantities, the quantities of goods that a particular amount of money will be able to buy will reduce because of the increase in the general price level. To say in a single line, inflation is an upward movement in the average level of price in the economy. The opposite of inflation is deflation. What are the types of inflation? One, we have demand pull inflation. Demand pull inflation arises when prices increase as a result of excessive demand over supply for the economy. as the whole, then it is called demand pull inflation. The imbalance between the aggregate supply and demand is the main cause behind the scenario. That is, when the demand for the goods and services is so high compared to the supply, that is when there will be a demand pull inflation. Demand pull inflation also occurs when pressure of demand is such that it cannot be met with the current available supply of products in the market. That is, the producers do not produce much or supply much into the society, into the economy, into the market, and there are more of demands from the consumers demanding for the products at that particular period of time. In that case, the little amount of goods and services produced and supplied into the market will not be enough to go around and satisfy the increase in the demand of the consumer. Therefore, there will be competitions among the consumers, and this will give room for increase in the price of the goods and services. Therefore, we can say that it is the case of full utilization of critical factor of production, which cannot be sustained by any other input. Also, what are the main causes of this demand pull inflation? 1, if there is improper fiscal policy. 2, if there is improper monetary policy. And 3, when the economic growth is greater than normal long-run growth. These are the major causes of the demand pull inflation. The second type of inflation is cost push inflation. Cost push inflation occurs when we experience a rising prices due to high cost of production. When the cost of production begins to increasing, then there will be an increase in the prices of goods and services, because the producers will always want to make profit. And if the cost of producing a certain goods is increasing, definitely the producer will be forced to increase the price of such goods and services. Cost of production may increase due to an increase in factors of production, maybe the workers fight for the increase in their salary, maybe there are increase in the raw materials, maybe there are increase in other expenses and other costs of production. This can give room for the increase in the prices of goods and services. Also, shortage of supply of labor or raw material and capital causes the price of products to increase. If there is shortage in the raw material of a particular product, maybe a particular number of quantity that is being used before, the producer will not get such quantity again. There is shortage in the production or in the availability of the raw material. Definitely, it will increase the price of such goods, because the producer will not be able to produce enough again. Then the little one that will be supplied into the market will have to be bring about competition among the consumers that they want to have share in the little products that is available in the market. Cost push inflation also occurs if the demand for the products or services is inelastic. Then the increased price of the factor of production causes a decreased supply of these goods and services. But the demand remains constant and the prices of commodities increase, causing a rise in the overall price level. Then, what are the major causes of cost push inflation? 1, we have extreme monopolistic conditions. 2, we have natural disaster. 3, we have government regulation and improper taxation policy. Then we have increase in wage rates. We have increase in cost of raw materials impacted from foreign due to various reasons. These are the major causes of cost push inflation. For example, if there is natural disaster, there is likelihood of all the raw materials to be scarce. Then if the government regulation and improper taxation policies happen, or if there is increase in wages and salaries of the workers, then all this will give rise to the increase in the cost of production, and therefore the burden of the cost of production will be transferred to the price of the products, and this will lead to the increase in the price of such goods and services. Measures to control inflation. 1, we have monetary policies. 2, we have fiscal policies. Then monetary policies. This is the most important and commonly used method to control inflation in a monetary in an economy. These include 1, increase or decrease in reserve ratio. Reserve ratio involves the increase or decrease in reserve ratio. It involves the reduction in the credit creation capacity of commercial banks so that the flow of money in the economy will be controlled. Each commercial bank has their own special account with the Central Bank of Nigeria, and they have certain amount of money that must be kept there. So the Central Bank has the authority and power over them to control how much should be there and how much should be at their disposal that will be disseminated to the economy. This is the one way of controlling inflation. Another one is open market operation. Open market operation, here securities and bonds are issued to commercial banks, from which in turn it gets the money which control the flows of money in the economy. That is, this open market operation is dealing with the securities and bonds that are issued to the commercial banks, that the commercial bank can give out, can disseminate out and give access to the citizens in the economy in order to have access to all these capitals and the cash that will help them to continue with their business activities. This is another way whereby the central bank of a certain country can control the economy.